Hey, and we are back. Today's show, we're going to talk about content and is content still king and why you need it, and great content in 2021 with Mr. Shiny Jets himself, Brett Barry, coming to you live. You won't want to miss this show. Good afternoon, Douglas. How are you?
Good. You?
Doing
lots of time in the air these days.
A lot of flying going on. Brett, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me.
Yeah. How's things been going on in your world out in sunny California?
Oh, man. It's awesome. Had some issues yesterday with some customers and decided to go surfing. The weather's perfect. I think I'm going to do that again today. You guys are still in ski mode, aren't you?
It's spring. It's starting to turn, but we had a 30-degree temperature drop today from yesterday. So, yeah, that's that. Awesome. Hey, I wanted to. Thanks for coming on the show today. We want to talk about content, and you instantly came top of mind just because I think you're doing amazing stuff in the content world. You've got tons of content out there. So before we dive into that, can you explain to everybody a little bit like who you are, what Shiny Jets does, and who you guys work with and deal with?
Yeah, definitely. So I used to have an aircraft detailing company. We cleaned aircraft, and over time, I just started seeing a lot of bad work. And then fast forward to 3 years ago, I started Shiny Jets. And basically, it was picking me off. I was just so mad about the quality of workmanship. And then you go look at the car industry, and they've got auto salons where you drop your car off with a lounge just for your car. And I'm like, man, like I can create these results on Jets. No one else is doing it. So let me start showing some content of what we do. And showing people what can be done for the aircraft. Basically. So started doing that. That kind of quickly transitioned into training people how to basically understand what deteriorates aircraft, understand how to restore it, and then understanding how to protect it, and then maintain it. So we started teaching on that basis for our training. So we go through all the different surfaces, really that simple. And yeah, it actually takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Well,
so how we.
Oh no, go ahead, Brett. Keep going.
So how we grew was through social media. I didn't have the money. I was, starting out a new business, had some financial issues, and so I ended up I was like, what's the easiest way? I was like, well, I could just put out there great content. We start getting, into 30,000 impressions and stuff like that, where it's like, several videos with 27,000, 20,000 views. And I'm like, how else am I going to get that? I'm not going to get that handing out business cards. So that's why I was just like, all right. And so I just decided to keep hammering videos. And they weren't very good at first, but they were funny, they were stupid, and then you start understanding camera and video a lot more, and then it starts taking you long to it's a beast. So it's a full-time job once you start getting serious about it.
Yeah, I mean, certainly when you want to ramp up your video production and everything that goes into it, yeah, it certainly becomes a whole task in itself. But I think that's a great story, and thank you for sharing, because I think everybody's heard the popular phrase, that content is king. And Doug, was it Bill Gates back in, was it 96? I think that made that statement that he first published that essay that he said, content's king. I think that's what it dates back to. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the start of it. And one of the prevalent things you continue to see, though, is a lot of people start, like they create, I don't know, 5 or 6 videos and they don't get this virality or they don't see anything and they give up.
Yep.
Do you remember the point at when you started to see the interaction, started to see the engagement pick up? Was it a specific video or just overall?
It was just overall being consistent. I think it always plays back to like everything always plays back to that like 10,000 hours, 10 years or something. I don't know. There's something weird with numbers, but I didn't focus on the actual numbers or engagement. I would focus when I would get better engagement and figure out how to try and recreate some of that stuff. But if you're focusing on, I guess basically, if you're focusing on how much people are watching it, just because you post a video doesn't mean it's good, doesn't mean you should watch it. It doesn't have a hook in the beginning. It doesn't have any information, no passion, nothing. Like, so you're blaming it on them instead of looking in the mirror and figuring out like, what do I need to do to get these people engaged more? What do I need to do to get more views and stuff like that? So that's usually what happens. I've felt it, but then I just tell myself, I'm like, don't focus on that. Just focus on doing it content. Don't worry about the followers. So that's my best advice. People just want to be insta famous. I had to drop it,
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, yeah, a lot of people get frustrated because again, they track, every post, every content, which again, there's stuff you should look at, but thinking that you're going to post 2, 3, 4, 5 videos and instantly just blow up everywhere, I think is probably the biggest misnomer. So that's awesome that you said that you weren't really focusing on that. You were just trying to find ways to create like great content. And this is where, going back to what you said, Brett, about, like the impressions you got and all that stuff. I mean, in today's world, like we don't have events, like, and to be able to scale and reach that many people, obviously online is that real thing. And because you were focusing on content that was funny or educational or had some like emotion to it, like that was your way of connecting with people, which could potentially be customers. And that I think is like why you've blown up and you've been so successful, is because you approached it in that manner and you made the content about the viewers and an audience, as opposed to, hey, look at my stuff, look at me, look what I'm doing.
Yeah, I was trying to appeal to a broad group of people. Educating pilots, educating mechanics, educating customers that own aircraft, and just showing them a different side of what quality of work can be done on that aircraft.
Yeah. Doug, what do you think, like what you've heard from Brett so far about, his approach and, kind of what we teach when we talk about content and how that overlays with our strategic approach when we handle things?
Well, I think a lot of people, especially starting out, like you've got one of two things. You're either going to spend a whole lot of money on advertising your business, which most people don't have, or you have to get creative about bootstrapping and figuring out where my customers are, how do I communicate with them? And especially with new businesses or even new products or services, when you're trying to create awareness, you have to break through the noise. And the one thing I would credit Brett's done is he's made the content fun. Like it's something people actually want to watch. And I see a lot of brands, especially when they're starting, if it's something new or something they're trying to promote, they treat it like an ad. And then that content tends to perform like an ad. Whereas I think, Brett, your angle was mostly more behind the scenes. It's like, hey, this is what we do. This is what we do well. And this is why it works. And you talked about the framework. But one of the things I'd love to get Brett's take on is you just started. Like you had to get this business off the ground. So you decided, well, my best path, I'm going to start with content. I'm going to tell the story. Walk us through, like when you started, you probably didn't have the same level of equipment you did today. Just walk us through what you did, maybe some of the stages to what you have now. I mean, that mic, for example, you probably didn't start with that mic you have in front of you, right? But tell us that first bit of content and then when you made an upgrade to where you are today.
Yeah. So I started Shiny Jets with, I had a Kia as a car, and I was like, I called my customer. I was doing Uber after work. I called my customer. I was like, hey, can you pay my bills and I'll detail your jets and I can use them for content? He's like, sure, I'll pay your bills. And I was like, I'll just Uber if I need money for dinners and going out and stuff like that. He's like, cool. So I started doing that with an iPhone. And then I saved up a few bucks. I got the gimbal and uh, I just started filming with the gimbal. And then I bought a tripod off. Um, oh no, they do video shoots at like this airport for some show on Google TV. And someone threw out a tripod in the trash can. So I got that. And yeah, I just started recording every single day. And then it worked out. And then I'd say the fastest growth though is definitely when you collaborate with other bigger influencers. That definitely grows you a lot faster. If I would have known earlier, I would have tried to do that more. But that was definitely one of the that's definitely very helpful. And then if you're collaborating with someone with better camera equipment, I mean,
It's funny you mentioned that. The 100th episode of another podcast I run, I shot in a studio and I got in. There's like 7 cameras, all sorts of audio equipment, cords everywhere. I'm like, man, this episode's definitely going to look like my best one because I didn't have access to any of that.
Yeah. Well,
no, exactly.
Yeah, and I thought you said you use what you had, and everybody's got a smartphone nowadays. Most likely it's an iPhone. There are some Android users out there which have great cameras, but you just shot content. Like you just brought people into your day. And what I think people like forget is that they want to overproduce content, that it needs to have all this structure and all this framework, which eventually, yes, you do need to. But when you focus on like that top of funnel content, when you're starting out or you're trying to build brand awareness about something you're doing, just bringing people into that like day in the life type stuff really helps people connect with you as a person first, because, I'm still of the old adage that, people do business with people they like. And for people to get to like you and know you and trust you, like they have to feel like they understand who you are as a person. And I think, Brett, with you on your iPhone, bringing people in and just showing people like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Like that consistency over time helps build that trust. Like, oh, Brett's a solid dude. Because again, you do a lot of funny stuff in there. You're great at storytelling. So I think that's where now, like when you move down the funnel and you started to go after, qualified prospects that you wanted to work with, they've seen your stuff. They've developed kind of a relationship with you because of all the content you've been putting on. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I got people walking in there for, oh, where do I know you from? It's kind of fun. But that's the thing is like, yeah, like you said, I'm relatable because I'm just like, oh, look at what we're doing here, and here's a little tip to make that faster. And then someone goes and tries it, and then boom, you got it. They trust you. So anything you say is they're going to trust. From then on, they're like, man, Brett helped me do that. Brett helped me do this. Watching this video, I've had people that say they went through training in Texas and they've learned more off of stupid videos. That was their comment. And I was like, perfect. It's good. So they, my structure for the videos is very simple though. It's basically within the first 3 seconds, like when I'm doing them, like you want to make them laugh a little bit, right? Or you want to catch their attention with something like throw a towel at the camera or, whatever, or have the thumbnail be something eye grabbing. So they're just like, oh, what's next? So that's basically, and then throw a little bit of facts in there about what you're doing and a little bit of passion. And that's it. It's a good little recipe that I try to fix.
Did you have any background in film or photography prior to doing this?
No, just my grandpa filmed for most of Grumman back in the World War II. That's it.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's it. I did a few spearfishing videos before, diving, and that's about it. It was always fun. And then I was like, well, I'll figure it out.
Yep.
Unlike my camera this morning.
So, Brett, with knowing that we've got a very niche and specific audience, what platform are you finding that you're getting, the best engagement, the best reach on? Because it seems like, a lot of people don't understand, I think, the power of social media fully. So, like, knowing that you've blown up in this space and in this industry and reached a very particular audience set, which platform are you seeing the most success on?
I am on Instagram mostly because I just hammered that for so long before I ventured into the other ones. I'm going to start doing more long form content on YouTube. I just haven't come up with how I want to do it, stuff like that. But I'm collaborating with I don't know, you got to come down, Mike Cady.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to do a video with him on his new plane, Scrappy, and with that. So I don't know how to do, long form videos and keep people engaged. So he's got a pretty good following on YouTube. So we'll start hammering there more, putting more information out. But Instagram, yeah, I've gotten jobs, I've gotten work. TikTok, I deleted that, but I just got lucky. The day before the Top Gun movie came out, or trailer came out, I posted one of my favorite Blue Angel videos on TikTok from Miramar, which is local.
Yep.
And I hashtagged Top Gun movie, Maverick, this and that. The next day the trailer came out, and I was at the top of all the hashtags. I had 10,000 followers instantly. It was crazy. So that's there are wins like that, but you got to stay on top of current events and see how you can tailor to that. All the different challenges, if you can infiltrate those challenges into your business somehow. It honestly works. It's stupid, but it works.
Yeah. You just open up a whole.
You told people, hey, you go to a trade show because, this many people might be there. But if you said you can build this platform and on a weekly basis, you're going to have access to 20 to 50,000 eyeballs. That's essentially like a football stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most people just they don't correlate how much attention can be garnered by video and what it does to position you and tell your story. But it takes time to get there, to get to that point.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It does. And that's why you can't focus on the results. The results will come. That was my main thing. I saw.
Yeah, well, I love that you almost kind of opened up a whole other can of worms there when you talked about how you started, using hashtags and stuff. Again, it's one to just post content and get it out there, but then when you kind of ramp it up to the next level, when you start tracking again, like you said, current events and hashtags and keywords, that's the whole strategy now. That Brett, would you say that's the part that aside from maybe the editing and production side, is that the next hardest part to really dial in, and that's something that you really kind of got to focus on to make sure you're doing things the right way? They're utilizing hashtags and really utilizing the platforms the way they're usually meant to as business tools.
Yeah, no, I think it is the tough one. As you know, I've got a lot of background stuff in the background working, so our content hasn't been on point as much lately. But basically, when I'm grinding it, when we can get back into it here in the next couple weeks, I'm still making videos, and then if I see a new trend coming out or a new song coming out that I can use, I'll swap that video and put that one in. I'll go make a video real quick at the airport and try and correlate it with detailing or whatever, how aircraft detailing, however I can. Definitely helps. people are seeing it all over and laughing. Like, I think there's this one where these girls are riding on horses and they put red lipstick on. And, like, I just couldn't think of a way that I could like be riding something, videoing myself and putting lipstick on. Like, I couldn't figure it out. So, but yeah, it's basically, see, you guys are laughing. It's like if you just get them to laugh, they're going to share it and share it and share it and share it, and then the algorithm favor that better. So, definitely helps.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think we're all guilty of that. I mean, I know Doug and I try to do as much, pre-plans, stuff like this, like as off the cuff as this is. Like, there's still a little bit of planning in there, but I think we're all guilty of not doing enough, just kind of documenting our days. That's something that I really want to push as we go into Q2 is more documenting, not creating, in a sense. Because again, like, I'm out there flying every day. I'm at different airports. I'm meeting people. Like, I just need to do a better job of picking my phone up and not being embarrassed to take a picture or do video, because again, that's how you, like you mentioned, Brett, like when you're out there with other people, they know, they have audiences, they have people, and it's just showing that you're part of the community, that you're in there, you're doing all this awesome stuff. And like I said, there's some stuff that people like and they'll share it, and that'll reach, again, all those other audiences and all the different places. Cause again, you travel all over the country doing these training sessions, cleaning people's aircraft. It just shows again how dynamic like your reach is when you start to post that content and share again, like what's your day and what you've been up to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it's super easy just to go on live for a few, and then you can delete it. You know what I mean? Like, it's an all people. I mean, it's good live.
Yeah. What do you tell people? What do you tell people that are afraid to get in front of the camera, or, that they might be embarrassed, or they say, my day's not interesting or my work's not interesting? What would you tell those people about turning the camera on themselves or showing what they're doing?
I was nervous at first. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've deleted stuff, but like, I was definitely nervous. And then sometimes when I would hire camera people, they were awkward, so it didn't make it. I was just like, but honestly, it's just the repetitiveness, and I think, yeah, just repetitiveness. And my job's boring too. It really is. Wax on, wax off. It's not that fun. So I just think that, showing different aspects of fun, or that's where creating that content that will match like a certain trend. It makes it more, it catches people with laughter, right? So,
Cool.
Yeah. Like I broke in. I did a video where I broke into Area 51, told everyone to go home when everyone was like at the fence at Area 51. Area 51. Like, I had a pilot's helmet on with tinfoil on it. Like, you just got to come up with random stuff that that's just most of the time. I did a COVID one where I ran out of gloves to pick up a COVID or a mask inside a plane. So I was like, no worries, I got another solution. I picked up the mask with my mouth. My hands are clean. You just mix it up, because no one wants to see me, hear me about me back in the plane.
No, that
got different pieces of it that are fun.
No, that's great. And I think that's kind of like the biggest takeaway for today as we kind of wrap up. I mean, like, don't be afraid to show your personality, and don't be afraid to be silly and laugh and have those emotions. Because like you said, it's not always about, your product or service. Like, Brett, I got to commend you because you're doing stuff that's getting people to like you and know you as a person. And that's how I stumbled across you. And that's where I've come to love you, is like, know that this guy's real. He's a real person. He's doing all this awesome stuff. He's funny. He's nice. He's smart. Like that's what I love again about your content. Doug, what's your take?
It's the same. I think there are so many good brands that get built from content now because they're just willing to share their story. And if their first interactions with just someone fun to be around, it's like, hey, man, this guy's hilarious. Like, you know what? It'd probably be fun to run into him and talk with him as opposed to, you know, getting 20,000 business cards or going to the mall and having these things jammed in your like windshield, and then it rains and then it ruins your windshield. Like nobody likes that kind of marketing. So being more human and more genuine is what this world needs, not wrecked windshield wipers.
Sure. Well, Brett, hey, where can everybody follow you online if they're not already doing so?
ShinyJets.com. Thank you.
And what about social?
Instagram, shiny_jets_official, and same on Facebook, and then Shiny Jets on YouTube.
Awesome. Well, everybody, I highly recommend you go look at Brett's stuff. He's very entertaining, very engaging with his content, and excited to see where things go and continue to see you thrive, Brett. So thanks for coming on today's show.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good talking to you.
Awesome. And if anybody that's paying attention in the universe, you know, we'd love to hear in the comments section, like what your take is on what your favorite form of content is. It long form? Is it live? Is it short form? Where are you guys seeing the most success? Drop that in the comments below. Other than that, we'll be coming back to you guys live again next week. Until then, take care, be safe, and we'll see y'all soon.